Hey folks, it's Rob. Welcome back to RimWorld. Hey, it's Alpha 13. And this is version 0.13.1135, compiled today, April 6, 2016. Just got my download link this afternoon while I was out doing my grocery shopping. So, hey, this is my first opportunity to sit down and record this. I'll hopefully run this off for you for today and have it uploaded later on this evening. So, I'll try to get this out as quickly as possible. So, what's new with Alpha 13? Well, I'm going to alt-tab out to the freaking changelog. It's basically, Tynan's titled this Trapped with Your Ex. It's our first update in like 6 months. But hey, it's got plenty going on. So, first off, the first thing they say is permadeath. New permadeath mode, one save file, save on quit or autosave only, no take backsies when something goes horribly, insanely, or laughably wrong the way RimWorld was meant to be played. Not a big deal for me, because that's basically how I've been playing RimWorld all along. If things go wrong, and you pretty much see it. Relationships, that's the big thing here, and the headline item. Colonist family and social relationship system, social relationships with friends, rivals, family, chats, arguments, and fights. There's an opinion system. Pawns care about dozens of memories and situations to determine their opinions of each other. Family members out to cousins and beyond. Lovers, fiancés, marriages, ex-lovers, and ex-spouses. This one's just called Lovin', with an apostrophe there at the end. So yes, your colonists, if they fall in love with each other, happen to be using the new double bed, they both get into that bed, they might take up some lovin'. We'll see. Because, of course, we'll be kicking off a new playthrough after I've done telling you about all the new stuff. People may get into social fights with those they dislike. Even neutrals and enemies do this. So, they'll fight. Like people argue. Like people do. I don't like you. You don't like me. Blah, blah, blah. And that could be a problem for our colonists. So, we'll have to see how that goes. Animal bonding. So this didn't used to be a part of the game, although there was certainly occasions when I thought it was, but it apparently was not. Your colonists will become bonded to particular animals, and, have affectionate bonds with them. So, that's like my pet dog, and, how dare you, you shot Springer. Oh my god. People who leave the map while traveling, fleeing, being kidnapped, etc. can come back later as raiders, visitors, joiners, etc. So, when people are kidnapped, they might show up again. When people flee or leave the map, like raiders who flee might show up later on as, independent joiners. Apparently, there'll be marriage ceremonies and parties that could happen built into the social system. So, another change is prison breaks. So prisoners will now try to pick locks, get out, seek weapons, and work as a group to escape. So if you have, let's say you've built up to 5 prisoners, they might conspire together to escape, break out into that pile of stuff that you already had just lying around in the big common room, arm themselves, and then escape the colony by basically overwhelming you. So we'll have to plan a little more around that. Brand new thing, infestations. Self-reproducing, spreading underground insect hives. Insect hives are dangerous, but produce succulent insect jelly, is what it says here. Now, insect hives also, and why they're dangerous, produce insects. Big, nasty insects that I saw in the promo video. And they look dangerous. So they're an opportunity and a danger, and it's supposed to help balance that whole digging into the mountain thing, because that's basically where they spawn. They spawn in underground chambers. So fun. We'll have to plan internal defenses against insect attack. Animals and predators. So many more animals, some of which will hunt people. Those are essentially predators. Some animals are now predators, including colony pets. So cats catch squirrels, for example, which will help you with your freaking squirrel problem. Because if you just spend... you've seen me with playthroughs. Having to spend time hunting squirrels, mostly out of the fact that we're desperately hungry and squirrels are immediately available to eat. But also, It's a pain in the ass to hunt squirrels, and also squirrels eat your crops. They, if there's like a whole bunch of squirrels, there might be squirrel vengeance, and next thing you know, your colonist is dead. Yes, that has happened. So having it gives a reason to have cats in the colony, for one thing. But also there will be predator animals out there, like cougars and bears, and they might turn on your colonists. But hey, there's a new section for dealing with that. We have threat response mode. So now we can decide how colonists will auto-respond to threats, like flee, attack, or ignore. Right now, colonists always ignore everything. At least that's what you've seen through the last 12 alphas. Now we can basically designate whether, if they see a hostile threat, whether they will attack that threat, flee from that threat, or ignore that threat. And that is going to be quite useful. So instead of just like walking through a firefight, la 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 la, whoa, there's nothing going on here, as they get shot picking up some piece of scrap metal you designated on the far side of the map. Now they might actually flee from a fight if they're not combatants. Economy. Components resource used for machinery and electronics. So the components is a new limited resource that you can obtain through scavenging and or potentially even building, but apparently that's high on the tech tree, and the tech tree has been revised to incorporate components and other things. So components is just a raw resource of electronic components, mechanical components. It's just generic components, okay? But it is essentially all the little bits of machinery to make things work. And we're going to need those components as an ongoing resource, which we're going to have to trade and scavenge for until we learn how to make our own, if we ever do. Ground traveling trade caravans from other factions. Finally, this has been in 2 major mod packs in the last alpha, but I've not been able to get them to run effectively. You can now have trade caravans with actual hauling animals, and traders wander onto your map, and you can trade with them. And you no longer have to just trade with the spaceships. It'll be friendly factions who will come and trade with you. Deeper research tree with more low-tech options and more things to research. So low-tech options are things like you can have things that consume fuel where you would have previously needed electricity. So, for example, there's going to be a fuel-fed stove. So I don't have to set up power right away. All I need is wood to fuel this stove, and we can cook meals. That's a big that's an advantage in my book. Yeah, new fuel. That's the next point here. We have new fueled buildings, stove, and generator. So there's a fueled generator that you can build that will generate electricity. Lo and behold, you no longer have to just rely on wind power, solar power, and nuclear power. Somehow you managed, the professors managed to make a nuclear power plant out of a coconut and two paper plates. No, now you can make a steam-powered generator. Various new lower and higher tech production buildings. We've kind of talked about that somewhat so far. 2 research tables, simple and high tech. So the simple one is essentially your starter kind of research table, doesn't require any power. The high-tech one basically replaces the old tech table and is required for certain projects to be able to execute. So essentially the high-tech one can do everything. But the high-tech one requires components and power. So miscellaneous section, we have new exotic infections, gutworms, mechanite infections, which give abilities at a cost of pain or fatigue, trauma savantism. Oh, Jesus. So, we can have people who become savants. That... oh, this is going to be awkward. Okay, new chronic diseases, carcinoma, asthma, hearing loss. Great. New fire foam popper, which I've seen executed in the demonstration video. It's an executable item. You can have a colonist go and fire it off. It's installed, right? So it's not like something that the colonist carries around. It's actually installed. So let's say I have a fridge, and I'm thinking of a particular fridge that caught fire in a playthrough from previously, in the last alpha. If I had that fire popper in the middle, I could have my firefighter, instead of going and trying to punch out all the fire, set off the fire popper, and that will explode foam all over the fire, blowing out the fire effectively. Then you have to clean up all the foam, but you no longer have a room that's on fire. So that's good. It's apparently researchable and constructible. Let's see here. Character records, which keep stats on each character, like number of kills, injuries, surgeries, etc. Well, I mean, it keeps lots of data, like how many hours they've been asleep, how many hours they've spent injured, how many hours they spent finding food. There's going to be a lot of data there for those who want it. Extreme desert biome, whole new biome. Not on all worlds. It depends on your key, on your generation key, of course. But there'll be essentially a desert biome that's even hotter and with even less animals and plants. So yeah, if you like dying in the heat, you can have extreme desert biome. I say this on a day when it is over 92 degrees here in Arizona on the 6th of April. So yeah, it's it's going to be a hot one this year. Colonists and relationships can share beds. I kind of talked about this before, so it goes with the next point, actually. New double bed. There's also a new royal bed, which is gold trim and fancy. New flat screen and mega screen TVs. Colonists can now visit sick people in bed to cheer them up. So not just attend on them and then ignore them. Colonists can actually pop in on colonists and go, hey, oh, sorry to feel you're feeling well. Bring them in some grapes, like you do. And then you spend a bit of time with them while you eat the grapes and then you leave, leaving them the stems. Just typical visiting sick people behavior. Sick people in bed can now watch TV. If you have a TV in the room and not too far away, you can have someone in bed watching that TV. Building damage overlays. So now we can see where buildings are damaged, etc. That's also something that we haven't covered here, is that things will break down and wear out. And when things break down, like doors, they need components to be repaired. So that's a thing. Days will now be twice as long as before, with years being half as many days. So essentially the year is still exactly as long as it was, but there's half as many day-night cycles in there. What it says here in the notes is that this means years are exactly as long as before in actual playtime, just divided into a smaller number of longer days. What it is also is that the year is now split into seasons instead of months. And a season is 15 days. Essentially a month is 5 days. I know, only 5 days, but a month is 5 days. A season is 15 days. You'll blow through a year, therefore, in 60 days. Animal kibble. So that's a new item. You can feed animals animal kibble. Deep rooms, that is deep rooms under the actual mountain roof, the roof you can't remove, will stay cool in the heat. So if you're on that extreme desert biome, you can dig really deep into the mountain and hope that might help deal with the heat. Of course, then you can't go outside. But you wanted to have that pale skin and fight insects, didn't you? Richer tale recording and better art descriptions. But the art descriptions were awesome. They were bizarre. Hundreds of balance improvements, optimizations, tweaks, and fixes, which we'll just have to discover by playing and reading the freaking Reddit, like I always do. So that is the official changelog of Alpha 13. Joy. Let's go and see what we can do with the new playthrough. Let's set up. So, first off, I think I'll have to create a world. And as always, I'll use my seed of whatever version this is. So this is going to be Alpha 13 seed. And I'm going to use a relatively small map to start with. Just generate me something. Alright, there's some of that extreme desert biome right here. Oddly enough, there's a little bit of tundra, but that must be up the top of a mountain. But there we go. This is extreme desert. This kind of orangey here. And then we have regular desert. And I have to say, for all the jokes I make about it, Tucson is a much more habitable desert than, say, the Sahara, which is kind of this. Okay, so this kind of Tucson gets rain much more than, say, this, like the Sahara would. There are plenty of wild creatures about here, and there's actually a biome. This is going to be a lot harder. It's got a year-round growing, but the average temperature is 88.5 degrees Fahrenheit versus, let's take, okay, here's on the same level, right? This one here, average temperature 80.4. We move over here, average temperature 79.2. Not a huge difference, no. But apparently they get more wetness here to allow for a better biome, I guess. I'm inclined to just kind of take a random spot, but this is the world, so we're not in the colony generation stage yet. New colony. I'm going to take Cassandra Classic to start, and we're going to take Rough. That's our usual default settings. Can't really use any of these old saves, so we're going to be starting anew. We got Alcade Alberio. Alcade Alberio. Okay, so that's our world. I'm just going to call it AA. And on AA, we need a lot of help, and we'll need a 10-step program and everything, I think. But, shall we show you the new extreme biome? Why not, I say. Alright, so this is kind of like Northern Africa, I guess. I'm going to just try to pick a spot with a decent bit of mountain. That way we at least have that available for resources. But not like actually the mountain, because the mountain itself is plain old desert. Okay, so we need something kind of hilly, mountainous, but extreme desert. Yeah, like this extreme. So that's 82.7 as the July average temperature. In January it gets down to 62.2. Yeah, average temperature 72.5. Okay, it's going to be hot. It's going to be nasty. So here we have some settlers. And you can see right off we have some relationships going on here between the two of these. So Mary, the minstrel, is the daughter of Crink Keith, and that gives them a plus 30 relationship boost. And Crink, the sheriff, is his father to Mary Keith, and plus 30. He is unfortunately, however, frail with a stab scar. She's got a scratch, and he's got a bite scar. I really don't want any of these people. So I'm just gonna randomize you out. First off, I'm gonna look for somebody who actually has no health issues. So here we go. He's cold tolerant. That'll be helpful in this environment. Psychically deaf, though, which actually is a good thing. And a careful shooter, but he won't do caring, social, or scary. I can't have this guy. I need... come on. Won't do social. I missed my prepared carefully thing. Alright. Heat tolerant. Chemical interest. We could deal with that. Shooting 5, melee 9, social 7, good with animals. Will do everything. Okay, researcher. Welcome aboard. Castro. Relationship, lover, Mary Keith. Well, guess what? Who's going away? Mary Keith is not staying, so... sorry. Nope. No. 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 Jeez, no. Artery blockage, no. Won't do practically anything. We'll shoot. And we'll create art. No, we're not doing that. A test subject who became a model. No, not 2 gunshots to the chest. No. Hard worker, gay. That's a new thing. So, attracted to people of her own gender. Ash Bramble Temples. Will do everything. That's fine. At this point, I'm just looking for people who will do everything and don't have massive downsides. Sorry, Crank. Right, Lazy Optimist Jogger. Lazy sucks. Lazy does suck, but I might deal with it just because you do actually do other basically everything else, and I don't have to like constantly have to regenerate. Female colonist, age 31, Tony, pickpocket who became a criminal surgeon. Thing is, I got a lot of doctors, I think. Well, no, I don't. I'm completely mistaken. I do need a doctor. Can anyone cook? A little. Alright. Well, Castro, Bramble, and Tony are my starting colonists. 3 of you awake from in your cryo-sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later, you land on this unknown RimWorld. As pieces of shredded starship fall around you, you start making plans to survive. Alright, let's pause it. So here's one of our new things. Ship chunk. You can use ship chunks. You can deconstruct them for resources, essentially. So that's useful that is there. Let's look at the map generally. Right, so we got a mountain. We got some valleys here. Got a couple trash buildings, ruins sitting around. That isn't terrible. And we got a hydroelectric there. Geothermal, I mean. So, actually, I like this. This little, got some nice defensive pockets we can work with. There's actually a building here. It's probably, I would bet, a tomb. I bet we'll get a bad feeling if we go near that. That'll be interesting. Because that means it'll be, if I get sieged, they start bombarding it, then, yeah. Please note, 1 cactus. You see anything else? I see 1 mega scarab. Yeah, so wood's not going to be so much a thing. Fuel burning items are going to be not really a huge solution to my problems. Oh look, there's a lizard and our second visible cactus there. Right. Not looking forward to having to... Well, basically, we're going to have limited patches of growing area. Because essentially you have this little strip between the rock and the sand that's growable land. So as you can see, it's going to be really thin growing plots. I think we'll move into this first. We'll use that as our immediate shelter. And we're still going to need power for cooling, so I'm just going to have to go up the power tree unless it's not possible anymore. So our note here is you can configure how colonists should automatically respond to threats like predatory animals. Choose from flee, attack, ignore. We've already covered that. So, alright. I need to work out who has what. We have Choo Choo the cat. Choo Choo, you're not going to have a lot of things to work on, I'm guessing. Here's our new components resource. We're going to need those components. Right, so I got a pistol, a rifle, and a knife. Who's getting what? Shooting 2, melee 3. Shooting 5, melee 9. Shooting 3, melee 13. Well, melee 13, you get the knife. You get the rifle. You get the gun. Congratulations. Okay. So, what to do? Well, we have slate walls, so that'll be a nice solid building. We'll basically put a door in here. Yeah, we'll claim it. Here we are, claim. Alright, that's ours now. Steel? Yeah, because I dare not use wood for other things, really. Put the door right there in the middle. I will... door costs 25, wall costs 5. We'll put a wall in here, seal it off for now. We'll put a cooler in later when we have some ability to do so. Yes, build a room. I've just instructed that. So I need to give my work assignments. Bed rest is a new category I can see here. You're not really that good at animal handling. You are my backup cook. Possibly become my main cook because you actually have some interest in cooking. You actually have interest in hunting. Wait, who actually has the guns? Yeah, we can't have a person wielding a knife doing the hunting. Everyone constructs, everyone repairs, everyone grows, everyone mines, everyone cuts plants. The crafting work we'll hold off on. Everyone hauls, everyone cleans. Okay. Get started, you jerks. Oh, I gotta unforbid things. Free up our immediate resources for manipulation. Alright. Good, we're getting on with it. Okay, we're going to need some beds in here. Use steel. I'm thinking yes. And you guys are just going to have to bunk together for now, because that's what we got. Yeah. Build a room, I know. It's been a while since I've had a fresh install. Let's see what's out in the area. So there's an Arcactus there. And our Mega Scarab. Well, that'll be fine eating. Some more steel. Some more packaged meals, more steel. What's up north? Some more ruins. Some mineable resources in the area. Compacted steel. Yeah, compacted steel. And more compacted steel. Okay, any good resources hiding out? Anything interesting like plasteel or gold or uranium, something I can sell? Our Mega Scarab. Check up on the workers. Oh, they're basically done. Okay. What can we train the cat to do? It can do hauling? Oh, trainable intelligence none. You cannot train the cat. Okay. That makes some sense. Cats aren't really... Well, cats are actually somewhat trainable. But, yeah, I can't imagine you can have a cat do hauling. Alright, so we got a room. We have some beds. Let's look at our production, what options we have available. Electric stove, fueled stove, simple research bench, steel hand tailoring bench, steel electric tailoring bench, steel sculptor's table, steel butcher's table. Meat's going to be hard to come by. It's going to be Mega Scarab or nothing. You know, those freaking bugs that might show up from the underground might be actually a valuable resource for me. Well, we need to start some growing zones because the days are longer. We're gonna have to get but there's not as many days. We need to get things growing immediately. Right. This will be our growing zones for potatoes. And Let's put it in our growing zone. Yeah, back over here. Just delete that little bit off. There it is. Yeah. Alright. And we'll turn that one into strawberries. Okay. And the cat's meow. Okay. We're going to need to move some of the things inside. Zone area, stockpile. I just need a small stockpile for some immediately perishable items like medicine. So, clear it all, but make it a critical site. We don't allow rotten. It was under items. No, manufactured resources. Here we are. Medicine. Need that there. I also want the packaged meals in here. So, meals. Packaged survival meal. There we go. They should just be all planting crops, though. That'll be the sickness from coming out of space. I wonder what's going to happen when my cat meets a mega scarab. It's probably going to be Choo-Choo is going to die. Which is going to suck, because probably someone's going to get emotionally attached to Choo-Choo. Potatoes are in. Strawberries are in. Gathering up our stuff. So the food's not sitting out there. We're going spoiled. Okay. Right. I think deconstruct this. First off, we'll claim it. Wonder if components degrade. I guess they do. Right, so that broke down into 30 steel and 8 components. Right, we're going to need a mining site. Oh. Compacted machinery. Well. Alright. Mine that shit. Alright. Put in a joy thing. That way people address their joy needs faster and don't spend all their time sulking, basically. Or wandering around, like, aimlessly staring at into space. So we're having a conversation, are we? Hey. Oh, I don't have a hauling space for it. Okay. Well, I probably do want to get those components out of the weather. Again, we'll put in a little stockpile. Again, clear all. So this is going to be a fun thing. Where does it go? It won't be under food. Here we are, components. So they'll now gather up the various components that are around the area. New lovers. Castro and Tony have come together and now are lovers. Well, who would have said that, you know, nature wouldn't take its course? I'm guessing that our gay colonist may not be exactly happy about having no one for herself, but, you know, time will tell when we have something show up. Tony is stargazing. So now we can see here, yeah, I knew it, bonded with Choo-Choo. Bonded with Choo-Choo. Lover, Takeo Castro. And bonded with Ash Bramble Temples. So, I had a nice chat with Castro, had a nice chat with Bramble, was wooed by Castro. Oh, so Castro moved in first, I see. I see how it is. Right. I think that's a nice start. So thank you very much for watching. Join us next time for another episode of RimWorld Alpha 13. You have a great day, folks. Goodbye.